Professor at the Georgia Institute of Technology, and Associate Professor of Cognitive Science, and Adjunct Professor in the School of Psychology, and Adjunct Professor at Emory University.
No, that's good. Almost, you just speak up a little. There's some
oh, there's some noise. I can try. Should you pick up a microphone or?
Maybe.
Are you speaking loud or do you want to?
Either way is fine.
Okay. Marvin, yeah.
Wireless.
Yes. So his research area are within AI and cognitive science. Knowledge-based machine learning, CBR, and the list goes on. He currently works on AI for computer games and virtual worlds. And true to form, he also founded several spin-off companies. So, Ashwin, take it away.
Thank you. Okay, hopefully this is audible. So before I launch into my talk, I'm sure people have seen the ICCPR Case-Based Reasoning Conference is not too far from here, assuming the volcanoes have pulled out and ash over the London airports. It's in London in September, and would love to have folks come, if you can come there. Okay, so back to my talk. Thanks so much, Anders and Agnar and I guess Lars, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. My first time in Norway, and my kid said I should look for trolls and go see the fjords. That's kind of how much I know about Norway. I'm going to be talking about user-generated AI. For folks who are on Twitter, that's my Twitter ID and the hashtag for the conference. If you like reading the talk, I've seen a few tweets go out. This work has been done with a number of people, and a couple of you have seen this talk. It's more or less the talk I gave at the ICCBR last year. If you've seen it, thank you for coming again. And been funded by a number of agencies that acknowledge their funding. Okay. So my lab is called the Cognitive Computing Lab. I'll just give you kind of a minute on what I do, and then we'll launch into the talk itself. I see cognitive computing as a blend between cognitive systems and cognitive science. Another way to think about it is we're interested in building intelligent systems or intelligent machines, and we're also interested in how these machines interact in a more intelligent way with humans. And so we've done a number of projects over the years, projects on robotic control, games there in the middle, which is most of what my talk today will be about. Also learning. This was a large project with GE, General Electric, on monitoring and diagnostics, similar to the kind of work that Vedanta does here. Healthcare, social media analysis, and a number of other domains. The theme is always around sort of building AI systems that can help humans do their jobs better. This is the learning system I'm working on now, which I mentioned there. If folks are interested, it's open and it's free. I'll talk a little bit about this, although this is not kind of the main point of my talk. The connection with learning with games is that this is a site that enables students and professors to connect with each other and learn together in these what I call massively online multiplayer study groups. Hundreds of students studying together. It's been highly successful. We'll look at the gaming aspect just a little bit. But I want to talk about games more broadly. Games, as you know, are a very, very large market. In the US, the gaming industry is larger than the movie industry. And what's interesting is that the word games or game AI encompasses a very large range of things that we think of as games. Games, of course, are entertainment, and lots of people have pointed out that games are the entertainment of our century now. And we see more and more effort in this kind of rich entertainment medium. Games are also widely used as educational tools. They're used in very serious purposes, used to train pilot soldiers, schools, and they've been used in schools and businesses, and part of Open Study came out of that whole aspect. There's a Serious Games initiative at seriousgames.org. People have seen that. I'm getting some echo. Move this down a little bit. looking at management and leadership challenges, challenges facing countries and nations, challenges with public policy, and so forth. A lot of interest in humane games, games that advocate social consciousness for healthcare, environment, and other kinds of social issues. So the word game really is a very, very broad term. So that's kind of what games are. Let's look at what gamers are, people who play games. Anyone want to guess the average age of a gamer? So by gamer, I mean people, if you ask them, who play a lot of games, who think of themselves as avid or hardcore game-playing people. How old are gamers?
28.
28, pretty close. It's actually 33, so this kind of notion of this kind of nerdy misfit teenager kind of playing World of Warcraft all by himself late at night in their dorm room isn't quite accurate. About a quarter of gamers are over 50, which is, to me, was pretty interesting. What about females and males? You guess, are these males playing games or females or both?
42.
Yeah, very close. 42, the magic number, right, from Hitchhiker's Guide. This one surprised me, number of parents who play games. People have kids. I don't know why people have time to play games. 35% of parents who play games. And actually, almost half of those are moms, which is pretty interesting. This is quite relevant to us in the US now with the voting season starting up again. Any guess whether gamers vote? Are they interested in social issues? Is it high? Yeah, very high. In fact, I won't go through all the statistics, but gamers are a very interesting subset of people. They volunteer, they play sports, they attend concerts and theaters, they read a lot. In other words, gamers are not this niche segment of society that is kind of off in their own world. Gamers are folks like us, just regular average people that cover a pretty broad range of society. And one of my interests in games as a domain is that it's an opportunity for us in AI to have an impact on a very interesting broad swath of the population. The kind of games I've worked with, I've looked a lot at real-time strategy games, not these particular ones, but these are ones you might recognize. Those are commercial games. I've done a lot of work with interactive fiction or interactive storytelling. These are some popular recent examples. Zork was actually one of the first games I played, back when there was no graphics. And also doing a lot of work with immersive virtual worlds, believable characters for worlds like Second Life. This was actually a project by my PhD student when he was a master's student here not far from here in Denmark. They built a virtual world around Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales, and you could go into a museum and interact with Hans, and he would lead you around the world and talk to you about his stories. And all of the interaction was done through sort of touch and speech, using an interactive panel in the museum. So this was a pretty interesting and very large project that he worked on. So let's now drill down into the research issue for AI. One of the biggest trends in gaming is social gaming, as you probably know. By the way, Zynga is about to announce its IPO. I'll tell you about Zynga in a second. World of Warcraft has upwards of 12 million users. I think they're almost up to 15 million now. And here's Zynga. Anyone know how many users Zynga has? Anyone heard of Zynga? Right? So they're up to over 200 million users now on Cityville, which is their most popular game. They just launched, on Farmville is 200 million. They just launched Cityville, which is the fastest growing game ever in history. They reached 80 million users within a month of launch. They have a number of other games in the 20, 30, 50 million user range. Very, very large phenomenon. And they're, so I'm going to see if I can get some of that IPO stock. I think next month is when they're planning the IPO. Playfish, which is a Zynga competitor, was a $400 million acquisition. Social Gaming Network, again, is estimated at over 100 million. In terms of revenues as well, Club Penguin is very interesting. This is now owned by Disney. They have an ARPU about $1.60. ARPU is average revenue per user per month. And just for comparison's sake, Facebook's ARPU is about 25 cents. month. So very large revenue stream from this. Clearly there's a lot of interest in social gaming. There's a $1 billion virtual goods economy as well in these games. People buying and selling these virtual goods to each other. Part of what's driving this whole move towards social gaming is that folks, consumers, people like us, are now moving to wanting to be participants in these experiences. We're no longer content to have some experts design an experience for us, and for us just to watch and consume the experience. We want to participate, we want to be part of the whole experience. We want our friends to be part of the experience. And more now, we actually want to create these experiences. Right? Now we've seen that on the social media world in general. Right? Wikipedia, YouTube, Flickr, you name it. There's a lot of interest in creation of media, not just consumption of media. In games, the same thing is happening. With sites like Congregate and Addicting Games and many, many others, there's a very large interest now, which can be measured by users or dollars or whatever kind of metric you want, in enabling people to create these experiences for themselves. As I mentioned earlier already, there's a lot of content being created for these games. If you look at Have a Hotel, for example, the whole experience is about creating stuff in this game. That's kind of the point of the whole game. And part of what's driving this move is that technologies to do creation have become as easy as pie. This is actually, it's kind of hard to see, it's a photograph of me in my child's class with third graders. So these are kids who are 8 to 10 years old, who are creating games using Scratch. You've seen Scratch from MIT, scratch.mit.edu, it's free. They have millions of kids using it. And these are kids who have never programmed anything in their life. In 4 one-hour sessions, they were able to learn enough programming to create games and put them on the web and share them with each other and play each other's games and get comments from each other and so forth. Very, very engaging, very easy to use. These technologies have become really easy now, to where even kids can do it. So this brings me to the challenge problem for AI. If you look at what's happening in these games, you can create these games, but you can't create the AI for these games. So if you go buy Sims 3 from Electronic Arts, you can go create a house, you can create your avatars, you can change the hair color and the clothing, you can do everything in the game, you can change the levels, you can change pretty much all aspects of the game. But when it comes time to giving personalities to your avatar, you get to pick from the 48 personality types that EA gives you as part of the game. You can't change what it means to be shy or aggressive or any of the personality types. You can't add any personality types. You get World of Warcraft, the AI is built in, or Halo 3, the AI is built in. So the AI still remains outside the purview of creation for average people. In fact, AI is completely missing from the social media landscape. If you look at this picture, really everything is being created by people. Right? There's news, there's photos, there's videos, there's music, there are games, everything's being created by consumers all over the world except for AI. So the challenge problem that I'm interested in is what I call AI 2.0. It's somewhat of a corny term, but I want to be able to enable people to create AI if they don't know any programming and they don't necessarily have a PhD in AI. How do we do that? How do we bring AI to the masses? And so I've been working on this in the context of gaming. You can clearly do this in other contexts as well. And I'll talk about 3 kinds of approaches, which are editors, meta-reasoning, and case-based learning. But before we do that, let's look at what it is these people have to create. What is game AI? What does it mean to create one of these? So one of the kinds of game AI, the kind we normally think about, is the AI that's embedded in non-player characters. So this is, you go into a game, there are characters in the game, they might be people or dragons or cars or whatever, and these characters are powered by autonomous behavior. So these AIs are focused on the NPC, the non-player character's goals. The character has some goals in the game and they have to carry out those behaviors. So for example, here's an example from Wargus. This is a clone of Warcraft. It's open source if anyone wants to hack into it. And there's a kind of an AI there where, the detail here is not that important, but you're going to build a base, you're going to set up towers and set up a defense and go scout for enemy. And so that AI has to be created.